Hey class, thank you for watching this video. I'm really sorry that I can't be there today. I'm doing a very important family obligation that I definitely cannot miss. It's much more important, as I explained to you as well. Family health, they come first. But today we're going to go over the influencer assignment we had from last week, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what we do with that type of influencer content. Now, what I really want to talk about, and which we will talk about, is what's going on with the current crisis and the way it's being mediatized across every single platform. You're watching history unfold in ways that I don't think we've ever imagined history unfolding. It's way different than I could have ever predicted or imagined that a war would unfold on video, especially on social media, specifically TikTok more than anything else. We need to talk about that kind of in person. I think it's a discussion that we could have as a class, and I think it's important for us to talk about how this is all part of the world you're going to be living in and are living in, and I think it's something that is important to discuss because over the next rest of your lives, things are going to be mediatized or mediated through every single method. So things are going to become much more immediate for you. Things are going to become far more important and serious, I guess, when we watch it as it's unfolding. So I do think over the next couple of weeks, it's probably going to dominate a lot of our discussion in our class. But in the meantime, we're still going to have the basic tenets of what we were going over in this course for pretty much the entire semester. So let's go continue from last week in the meantime. So next week, like I said, a week from today, we'll come back and we will, well, it depends on what day you're watching this, I guess. But if you're watching this on Monday, a week from Monday, so when we return to class on March 7th, we're going to be going into the more immediate things that we should be talking about. But for now, let's talk about influencers and continue that conversation. So where we left off last week was basically discussing how the history of YouTube informs how influencers operate in our current day. In other words, the influencers of today lean on the shoulders of the digital giants, the people that have invented how we've done influencer videos from our past, kind of inform how we're going to make them today. What I really like is this assignment that I gave you about making your own video, and it's one of my favorite parts of the whole semester. One, it's a good way for me to get to know who you are. That's really important to me. I get a good sense of your personality, I get a good sense of what you like and what your hobbies are, and these are things that I can't really access because the way the classes work. And this is a project I've actually given out in all of my classes for about, over a decade at the very least. In the last school I was at Malloy College, I had a YouTubers course, I think I brought up. And in that course, the entire semester was about maintaining and operating your own YouTube channel. And now I'm sure if I were to do it today, it would be also operating your own TikTok channel. But the goal was to kind of figure out what ways we express ourselves or what ways we perform using digital media and these types of tools. And it was very interesting to see students love to take this course, but it was actually one of the hardest courses that we had in the program, and a good majority of the students that took the course would actually end up either dropping out of it or end up not getting that great of a grade, because over the course of the semester, at the beginning, it was much harder. I had them do 13 videos over the semester, which is unbelievably difficult to do. And would cause a lot of stress for some of the students. So what I did is I actually made it so over the course of the semester you make 8 videos to basically start up your YouTube channel. Today, I think out of all the channels, and there's got to be well over 80 at this point, out of all the channels, probably maybe 6, maybe 7 continue to do their YouTube work it's today, which to be honest, I'm very proud of. I think that's great. I think it's excellent that people have taken the opportunity to use these channels to express themselves and continue to do so. And so it was kind of neat. But it was also really important for students to kind of figure out how to use these tools, what to do with different technologies, how to make cameras work your way, or your phone work a certain way, or what your audience is. How do you change your content to what the audience is looking for? And so that's what we're going to talk about mostly today, is amplification. What do you do with the content you've created? What do you want to do with it? And where should it go? These are things that influencers kind of think about probably as mostly part of their job, but I want you to start considering it as mostly part of what we're going to do for even at the later end of the class, which is about marketing, but start thinking about how you promote yourself. So we went back last week, we were talking about Tyler Oakley. He's one of my favorite case studies. And the reason I use Tyler as a case study is because of his version of himself, his performance of himself that he's created. He's invented a version of Tyler Oakley that he presents to people through the camera, through everything, but he's adopted that personality into physical space. He can't really leave YouTuber Tyler Oakley on YouTube. He has to bring that character everywhere. He's reliant on his fans to kind of support him and be his structural responder. In other words, when he does content, he looks for the feedback that comes from his audience. And I think that's something that we're not really used to, or we're not really built for. When we're in class and we give a response, we raise our hands, we're in a pretty enclosed space with an enclosed audience. In other words, if we're saying something that may need some time to flesh out or discuss even further, we get some instantaneous feedback. We kind of know exactly whether or not something is working within a few seconds or minutes of us talking about it. Whereas when you use the web, when you use YouTube or TikTok, you're pretty much making content that's out of sync of time. Sort of like this, okay? So I'm creating this content and I'm going to post it online. I'm going to edit it. And then I'm going to post it on YouTube, and then I'm going to post it on Blackboard, and you're going to see it. It is asynchronous. It is out of sync of time. It is atemporal. The same thing does happen for YouTubers. We interpret their content as if it's happening almost immediately. And that's something that I talked about last week, which is this unfortunate way we interact with content, like parasocial relationships. The fact a YouTuber makes eye contact with you through the screen makes you feel as if you know them personally, or you feel it's more immediate, or you could talk to them directly. A YouTuber relies on your feedback. They rely on you watching it, but also coming back for the following video. And that's much more important than we often consider. But when we post a piece of content, we're pretty much throwing it out into the void. We're pretty much hoping for the best. We don't really know what's going to happen until we get that feedback, until we see views grow, until we see the same person comment on multiple videos. So it takes a fair amount of investment to be an influencer. You have to keep going. I used to say there was like 3 P's to be an influencer: positivity, persistence, and patience. And I think that's because a lot of people believe that they could just jump into becoming an influencer and it just sort of works out. It doesn't. It takes a lot of time. What I mean by positivity is that you have to sort of take anything you're talking about, any type of content or context, and spin it in a positive affect. In other words, I noticed some of you actually did it on your videos, which I'll show in just a little bit. There was the YouTuber voice, okay? So the YouTuber voice is a big part of it. And it's the, hey guys, or it's the, hey, welcome back, or hey class. That has a noise to it, a very specific noise within it. And some of you actually did that. Sarah did that on her ASL lesson, and Jacob did it on his review of Psych. And I was very proud of you guys because that was really cool that you had the YouTuber voice. You knew how to get the attract attention right off the bat. And that's a type of thing that we have learned from other YouTubers. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting about how we make content. So let's talk about some of the structural elements of video content online. TikTok, of course, has changed this. But there are linguistic traits that come with video production. Just in the way that there's a grammar for memes, there's also a grammar for video. And grammar means that there's like grammar on like punctuation like you do on a paper. Grammar means it's kind of a standard. It's kind of a way of recognizing what type of content you're writing, reading, creating, whatever. So you also know like what the structural elements are of your content. And I think we take that for granted. We don't often think about how much the structural elements play into what we do. So the hey guys, that note, that's a term in the video production called in speech and linguistics called the schwa. And the schwa is a sound that sounds like a an EUH noise, like a low noise. The reason that noise works is sort of the way that memes work. The way that we get like an earworm or something stuck in our head, the schwa is a noise that you gain attention with. If you're ever in a crowd of people, or you're in a mall, or you're somewhere where there's a bunch of people milling around not really paying attention, if you use the noise, the schwa, and go, hey guys, you're going to see people look toward you. It is kind of the way that it's like a sing-songy noise that gets people's attention. It's been really good and really effective as the YouTuber voice, because that's kind of like what that active performance is. And so when I talk about the ability to perform, you have to know that you're performing in a very specific space to gain specific types of attention depending on where you're speaking. So much like the memes have a grammar. So many of our current memes in language 3 have a personal reference grammar. They often start with me, when, I, or me when I, or when you. You know, it's kind of like a reference to something you've been doing. Very similar to the way a fortune cookie would operate. So it has a very similar grammar to that. It's meant to affect a lot of people to feel like they're not alone with those types of scenarios. A YouTuber does the same. A YouTuber puts themselves out there to make them seem like they go through the same issues you do. They make themselves feel vulnerable. They make themselves feel very self-efficating. In other words, they make themselves feel worse than you, so you always feel like you're looking up to them or feeling like you're secure around them. That's part of the grammar. And I don't mean to be cynical or skeptical about this. What I want you to recognize is that this isn't about putting down YouTubers or influencers, but it's to recognize that these are a set of tools. These are a set of tools that you can basically engage with, learn how to use, and then start talking to the camera much more like solidly, much more in a different way that we've ever performed. It takes quite some time to learn how to speak directly into a lens or speak to an audience that we're never really sure of. I know who you are. I've seen you in person now, so I know what room I'm speaking to, so to speak. But when a YouTuber is out there, they don't really know who they're speaking to. When you made your videos, you were pretty aware of the discussion board. You knew that you were going to be putting your content out into the space, but you really didn't think about how anybody was going to see it outside of that. And that was part of the design. So you knew how to make that performance work. And like I said, I really enjoyed a lot of the performances you did and a lot of the videos you created. But when you are an influencer, or you are a creator, that's the term we'll use moving forward from here. As a creator, you're speaking to an audience that you're unfamiliar with, and you are taking a large risk. I think it's very brave to be an influencer. I think this is a skill that takes some time. I think it's something that people don't recognize as a job. And I think there was a recent survey that had come out that showed that children, I think it was like children between the ages of 6 and 16, over 33% of them wanted to be a YouTuber or an influencer of some type. And that's because they're exposed to YouTuber or video content as a primary means. And they know that if those people keep showing up week after week, it must mean it's a sustainable model of employment. It must be, because they keep coming back, because this isn't cheap to do. I've spent a lot of my career getting the right gear for me to work correctly with this stuff, because I'm very proud of the materials I can make or the gear I work with. And I moved up from cell phone to GoPro to Sony camera. And it takes some time to learn how to make these pieces of technology work right. And when you do that, it means that you've made it in a place that you could succeed. Now, I have a full-time job. I'm a teacher, so I could afford to do this. I also write for a living, and I spend a fair amount of any income I make on writing on my camera gear. But when you are an influencer, you have to know that there's a way of making money beyond the views and the clicks. So before we get to some of the more intricate and esoteric parts of the marketing and how you make money being an influencer, I want to say this is going to be, let's go to part 2 where we talk about your content, what you did and what we created for class, which I was very proud of. So I want to spend a little bit of time sharing some of your videos on this video, on this lecture, because these, I don't want to say these are my favorite because that's not fair. I just want to say that these fit the example of what I was trying to get when I asked you to make these types of videos. So there's a lot of you in this class, there was a lot of videos, so obviously I can't show them all on this examples, but I do want to bring up some of your classmates' examples to show where this fits in the model of the performance that we've made here. So I want to point to some genres, okay? So one of the things I like the most about this assignment is that you accidentally find yourself creating content in the genres of YouTube. And genres of YouTube is an interesting aspect of media creation. So I often use the word genre. I think it's probably used incorrectly. Genre in this case are types of YouTube content that are made only for online media. That's different than like TV. So when you think about TV genre, you have reality TV, you have game shows, you have sitcoms, you have dramas, you have soap operas. But you don't realize sometimes that genres do mix and you're not sure what genre you're watching because we're not really told what genre media is. For example, The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is a soap opera. And so that soap opera has zombies, of course, but it really is the same model that a soap opera would use. It has a big cast, it has many subplots, and they interweave throughout time, and the storyteller hops between these. So long drama shows like that, like Lost, like some of the shows that we've watched for many, many years are technically considered a soap opera in their genre. Same thing with reality shows. Sometimes you watch a reality show, like The Bachelor, so to speak, and that's a reality show, but that's technically under the genre game show. So the structure of the game show is really what goes into reality TV. Now, reality TV is usually a game show. That's usually its model, and that's because we like watching game shows. We like watching people win, and we like watching people lose, and we like the whole entire thing. The reality show I worked on, now quite some time ago, was technically a game show. It was about 3 college couples that went away to 6 different colleges and could only keep in contact via text messages. And that was a game show. They had to compete against each couple to see who was going to make it through their 6 weeks without cracking. And the winner got to go to Disney. And we did have a winner. And they did keep up with it, although it did really wreck their lives because within that game show, we were also manipulating reality a bit. That's how reality shows work. Now, YouTube genres are different than television genres. When we talk about YouTube or TikTok, we talk about alternative media structures. Structures that aren't what we consider mainstream or traditional media. We're talking about genres that are completely new. So new media genres are things like mukbang or ASMR or MUA, makeup artistry. That's a genre for the internet. We're talking about Let's Play videos or Get Ready With Me videos or Follow Me videos or Day in the Life videos or drive videos, driving vlogs. That's like a big genre in and of itself, mounting your camera and doing some pretty unsafe habits with recording yourself while driving. But those are genres made for the internet. They don't translate to traditional media. They wouldn't be watchable on a large screen. They're designed specifically for short form content on smaller screens. It doesn't mean they can't be broadcast onto a TV, but they'd be broadcast within the container of a TikTok or a YouTube, as in horizontal video, which we're using here, or within the structure of a vertical video like you would see maybe center cut here on a TikTok. And as a TikTok, we've gotten used to vertical video, and that's a completely different story. Maybe later in the semester, we'll talk a bit more about why vertical video has become more primary today when we talk about authenticity, which we will get to. So, some of your videos. So first I'll start with this genre of Ready With Me / Day in the Life type of thing. And I really enjoyed Kristen's Ready With Me video with her makeup artistry.
When I saw the girl look just like me, and it broke my heart, the lengths you went to hold me, to get to have me, 'cause I haven't given you what you need. You wanted me but couldn't reach me, so you went into your memory, lived all the ways you still want me. I haven't given you what you need. You wanted me but couldn't reach me. I'm sorry, it should have been me. I'll be going about my day until a hand would.
And then with that in mind, I really, really enjoyed Jonathan's hair routine video. Jonathan's hair routine video is amazing. Like, it is exactly the style that would be for a routine video. And I think that's very, like, to some people very cathartic. The way that people enjoy makeup artistry, with Kristen's video, I think it was really great to see that type of process. So those videos are considered technically DIY. So Jonathan's video is technically like a process video as well.
What's up everybody, my name is Jonathan and welcome to my hair/skin nightly routine. This video is brought to you by The Puffer Case. Use my promo code down below for 15% off your next purchase. Just kidding, this is a video for class, so there's no promo code. First thing I do is turn on the water. Obviously you need water to shower. The first product I use is the Shea Moisture All Day Frizz Control Shampoo, the best smelling shampoo on the market. I guarantee that. It's from Shea Moisture, the best hair brand of all time. If you have curly hair, I highly recommend Shea Moisture. It smells really good. I lather the hell out of my hair and then I just wash it off after a couple minutes. I try to make sure that none of the shampoo gets to my eyes because that would be very painful. The next product I use is this CeraVe Foaming Facial Cleanser. A lot of people don't like this product because they say the ingredients in it are bad, but I have to disagree. I really like it. I use it every day. That's me washing it off. Next thing I'd use is this Shea Moisture Beard Wash. It smells immaculate. I highly recommend if you have a beard. Then I use this hydrating and repair protein power treatment. I use this like once a week. You just put it in your hair, you wait around 15 minutes, then you wash it off. Now this is the best skincare product on the market. It's the peeling solution. It's so powerful, it's like an acid. You can only use it for 10 minutes at a time and once a week. So you apply it on to your skin. It looks like blood. Should have put a trigger warning. But yeah, you put it all over your face. You look like you just got out of a fight and you lost. And you kind of just sit there for 10 minutes and then you wash it off. And it kind of burns, but I swear to you, it's very good for your skin. And then your hair and your skin looks pretty good. Once again, this video is brought to you by The Puffer Case. Yeah, there's no promo code, so don't look for.
And what I mean by DIY is a do-it-yourself. You're doing the work, but a process video has always been very successful online. I think that was featured by Tastemade in the early 2010s. That's BuzzFeed's food thing. When you watch people cook and you watch people make something in order, it's kind of cathartic, kind of calming. It's where ASMR really has its foundations, because if you don't, after a while, you can delete the video sometimes and just hear the noises, the idea of the process, the familiarity, the connection to something that you're familiar with, but it's out of sync of reality because sounds are different. I also liked then in that same genre, Genesis's Pick a Fit With Me. All right, so that is very much a video about a get ready with me type of video.
Okay, Pick a Fit With Me Library Edition. This video is sponsored by Queens College. Starting off with these green cargo pants. Love the pockets. Yes, very cute. Put it on. Transition. See the back pocket detail. So cute. Now top. Bam! Another transition. Stretchy. I love the ridges and the nice turtleneck. And now, since it's only around 50 degrees in New York, I'll be putting on this flannel in case I get cold in the library. Thumbs up. Now using my dirty white Air Forces. Another one. Great transitions. Pretty. Yay. Woo. This gloss by a brand I will not name because I am not sponsored. Some glasses and some cute jewelry. And I am almost done grabbing my things, as one does when one goes to the library. Be the best student ever, and peace, queen. Study hard.
So Get Ready With Me is a type of YouTube or alternative media type of content. And that is, you could do different styles, you could try on different clothing. I had a former student at Malloy who her entire channel was just like haul videos. That's a genre. And she would do hauls. She would go out and buy a fair amount of dresses and use her YouTube channel to show them off. I honestly don't know if she kept them or not or whatever, but it was a style of get ready with me. So it's very much a way of people feeling like they understand it. Now on that note, I think there's also genres that make sense for some weird reason. So that's like haul and unboxing. Unboxing videos are sort of like ASMR, but unboxing is like this, you get to see what's inside of a package without having to buy it. You kind of get to see the whole process of it, but you also get that feeling, that that really great cathartic feeling of something being opened in front of you. So these are all parts of that same type of genre. What I do really like is the creative genres that are kind of like explainers, and I really do enjoy some explainers. So I want to point out Jacob's video here, his review of Psych.
What is up, guys? I know I normally have a crazy in-depth reviews, but today I have this assignment for school, gotta get done in just 2 minutes, so I'm gonna quickly talk about Psych, the show, which I personally really love, but if you don't know what it is, I'll just let you know. It's about this guy, Sean Spencer, who is a fake psychic detective. He's a genius, walks into a room, photographic memory type of thing. They say, I think they use the words heightened senses. Point is, the guy literally is a genius. He could solve any crime. He's really great at it, but the police think that he's a psychic, and that's where the show is interesting. It's a hilarious show, very, very funny, and that's kind of why it's so great. It's not about the crime, it's not about the exact formula that they do each episode, but it's more about the type of humor they have, because Psych, it's not just, the show Psych, it's not just funny, but it's fun. The show itself is fun, and the characters, the cast has an amazing chemistry with each other, and they do such a great job bouncing off each other, just constantly coming up with such amazing material. And yeah, it's just a hilarious show. And like I said, don't have really much to say. Didn't come in here so scripted. More or less came in here saying, hey, I need to make an influencer video for school, and I want to do it for you guys. So that's my Psych review.
So I like that a lot, because that's very traditional to me, how content would be made when I was asking somebody to run a channel for 8 episodes. That type of content is sustainable. You could create that over and over and over again. So Jacob's review could be done the following week, and then the following week with all different shows. And it's as simple as that to keep a channel going. Audiences love that. There's a certain joy in hearing somebody's opinion. There's also a joy in reacting to that opinion. So very often reviewers get a lot of comments, as you know, because we live in a world of reactionary. So people want to react to that type of content. So it is a good way of keeping an audience, but if you do become a reviewer, you do take the risk of people wanting to let you know you're wrong. Basically, that's the best way to put it. On the explainer route, I want to point out Tyler's video about parlay. I don't really understand what parlay is still. The video helped me understand how gambling works, and now, as Tyler explained to me, gambling and sports are pretty intertwined at this moment. And I agree with that. I think everybody I speak to talks about that. But here is a first-person account of what it means to just barely miss.
This is a story how I almost won 1.6K on Super Bowl Sunday, but keyword almost, and yeah, the end of the story is kind of sad, honestly. I'll get to it, but here. So this is my parlay for the Super Bowl. Some people may not know what a parlay is, but pretty much everything on your screen has to happen for me to win the 1.6K. I put $50 up, so yeah, I mean, I still lost kind of $50, but still 1.6K. Imagine if I would have won. Oh my god. Yeah, so nothing was really happening until this play right here, which I kind of was like the momentum change for the Rams. Cooper Kupp gets the ball and goes like 15 yards, and they get close to the end zone. And then with Stafford pulling back, he throws it to Odell, who I needed my parlay to score a touchdown. He scored the touchdown. People didn't think he was going to score a touchdown in this game, but I had a feeling just deep down. I don't know what it was. As a Giants fan, though, I was just happy to see Odell score, because was it all those years on the Giants where like our team was shit pretty much, and just seeing him finally in the Super Bowl scoring a touchdown, it just made me happy, honestly. This honestly was a good game. Like, I was enjoying the game the whole time. But look at this play right here. It's Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, I need to score a touchdown, for me to win the money. So remember Jamar Chase. Just remember that name. This is the beginning of the second quarter. This is Stafford throwing to Odell. I'm showing this because I needed Odell to get 50 passing yards, and this actually got him 52. So that was 2 of my legs of the parlay already finished. The Rams would then run down the field and get to the 11-yard line. And Stafford had a really good game this game. Passes Cooper Kupp, who I needed to get in my parlay. So that's already 3 of my legs hit, not even before halftime. I was feeling extremely confident at this point. Like, you don't understand. I was screaming. I was going crazy. Yeah, and then the halftime show happens, and then I realized that we're in 2022, and Snoop Dogg was performing. And then I see this play, right? And you're probably thinking, why are you showing this play? Well, I needed Joe Burrow and Stafford that have good passing games. So this play was actually very important to me. Look at him, Gritty. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but Jamar Chase was not the person that caught that ball and scored the touchdown. So I was still a little worried, but I was like, he could still do it. Skip to the end of the game. That pass makes Joe Burrow 250 pass yards, which I needed. The only thing I needed left was a Jamar Chase touchdown. And with this being the last offensive play of the game, just watch it. Just watch what happens. Depression. I was just so sad. But then I woke up the next day and I saw something on Instagram. I need to show you guys this. It's a photo of Jamar Chase being wide open past his defender. If Joe Burrow had one more second, I would be 1.6K richer. I can't believe it.
And finally, within this explainer part, I want to point out Sarah's video where with the ASL, teaching us how to do the ASL language, the alphabet, which I found fascinating. I love tutorials. I think educational content is extremely important. I think it's a good skill to have. I think this type of video can be very well amplified, and when we get to that in a little bit, I think this type of content is really important to create like a personal resume, to show people how you use different mediums to help people learn.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do the alphabet in American Sign Language. So let's get started. Okay, first letter is A. A is basically a fist, but you put your thumb on the side rather than where you would for a normal fist. B is 4 fingers up with your thumb across your palm. C, just make the letter C, but out of your fingers. D is basically a circle, but you put your pointer finger up. E is a claw, but not like a normal claw. It's like a little bit like extended. It kind of feels a little weird. That's okay. F is the bucket sign. G is 1 finger pointed out to the side. H is the same thing, but with 2 fingers. I is just your pinky finger facing up. J is you take this I and you just go like this. So J. K is the peace sign with your thumb in the middle, like this. K. L is just you make a letter L out of your fingers. M is when you put your thumb in between your pinky and ring finger. N is pretty similar, except you go in between your middle and ring finger rather than your ring finger and your pinky. O is just an O made out of your fingers. P is the K from before, but upside down. Q is this, but like this. So it's this, but you're doing it while your hand is facing downwards. R is your middle finger wrapped around your pointer. S is the full fist, similar to the A, except you have your thumb across. T is your thumb in between your pointer and middle finger. U is just 2 fingers facing up. V is this, but open up, you just make a V shape. W is a W, you just add that 3rd finger. X is just like this, it's like Captain Hook. Y is your pinky and your thumb just out. And Z is you take your pointer and you just make a Z shape. So altogether it should look like this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Hope you guys enjoyed and see you next time.
I also really liked here that Sarah begins the video with, "Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel." I think that's really great. I think that's a really good entry to help people. It's kind of almost cliche or almost like a meme at this point where people interact with content that way. Remember too, when you're making content, people on the other side of the screen do like feeling welcomed. They like feeling like they're part of this process. This is also why calls to action work. So calls to action, like when you point and say like and subscribe, but you also have to point, that pointing helps people actually do the act you're asking. So that's become a meme among children too, like and subscribe, because it's what they hear YouTubers say. So the hello again, welcome back to my channel is a really, really great entry point to some of the content. Now, I would be remiss without talking about comedy, which I think is some of the best genre that exists on multiple platforms. When you're talking about multiple platform content, comedy is one of the best, most translatable pieces of material that you could put out there. And I really appreciate the next 3 videos, which I'm going to attach to them, which is Theo's Tell Me You're Cheap Without Being Cheap video, Abir's video, the satire of being an influencer, and Hannah's, basically she figured out how to do the assignment with comedy and with minimalism.
Hey y'all, it's Theo, and I'm here to ask you another question. How do you tell someone you're cheap without saying you're cheap? I'll start first. My dad had this ingenious idea to use a cardboard box as a laundry basket by taping the edges together so it could hold more clothes. And since then, we've been using lots and lots and lots of cardboard boxes as laundry baskets since then. And to show you how long we've been doing this here is the first basket he ever made, and this has been in our house since I was a baby. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Boredom. It's such a crime. Like, honestly, what do you even do? Luckily, I found a way to learn it. Learn how to use and use the classified or just survive that. One of my favorite hobbies is reading. Honestly, I've read so many books in the past few years, even thousands. The last book I read was written by a famous author and doctor.
Dr. Seuss does not count. He doesn't.
Another favorite hobby is playing the piano. I love playing the piano since I can't even remember.
That's probably because you haven't played it since you've gotten it. Literally 2 years ago.
One of my other favorite hobbies is sewing. I love sewing. In fact, I love it so much. Anything to do with sewing, knitting, embroidery, sewing, it's my favorite passion. That's why I always wear the stuff that I make and the stuff from the head, so shoes don't make me. Talk about?
To just film.
To just take the video. Can you please do that for me? Honestly, I don't know what's so difficult about that.
It's not true.
I don't care. It's no, you don't have to like any of the hobbies I do, and that's completely fine. I mean, you can run, draw, read manga. The possibilities are endless. The important thing is to love what you do. That's why I'm signing off.
This is the last time, right?
No, can we actually do it again?
No.
Just a #1 champion sound, yeah, Estelle, we about to get down. Who the hottest in the world right now? Just touched down in London town. Bet they give me a pound. Tell them put the money in my hand right now. Set up a motor, we need more seats. We just sold out all the floor seats.
Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick you with you. You'll be my American boy.
So these 3 videos made me laugh. I think these are really great content for comedy. You know, it's I think comedy is one of those genres that if you need to lighten up the mood, I think we're in a very heavy and serious time, as you know. I mean, literally, if you're looking at TikTok or the news at any given moment at this moment, we're not sitting through a period of time where it's just calm. So sometimes having alleviating material, or sometimes the ability to poke fun at something or find the lightness or humor in something, helps us cope. It helps us engage with ourselves and understand how things work without having to feel too overwhelmed by the reality that's wrapped around us. And right now things are overwhelming. So I think it is important for us to find some space to laugh, to find some joy in some of this, because it is a resistance to the doom scrolling or the outrage bait that the internet actually operates on. The internet profits from outrage. It profits from doom scrolling. So if we find some way of resisting that and laughing within it, I think there is some space for us to be creative without being stuck in the model that Mark Zuckerberg wants us to operate in. I think these things can be done creatively and separately from what we imagine them to be. So thank you for the comedy pieces. And and you figured out a way to do the assignment without exactly doing the assignment, but it works. So let's switch to the third part of this, which is amplification and the assignment that you'll have for homework. So you really do have 2 assignments for homework. They're fun, so to speak. I think this is a preview of what we're going to be doing further down in the semester, towards the last few weeks, literally the last few weeks of the semester. We're going to be marketing. We're going to learn how to take all the tools we've learned all semester and create, using our brand, our personality, or whatever, a product, we're going to promote that thing, okay? And so today we're going to learn how to kind of do that on platform-specific marketing and messaging. And so influencers have to do this in a very specific way. So let me speak to you about what it means to be performing on different platforms, and let's talk about Sarah's ASL video. What I meant earlier is that when you use this media, when you use video content or video media to communicate, you are using a different version of the performance of self when you do this. So I think we brought this up in class, but wherever we are creating a version of ourselves and performing it to others. And when I'm in front of the class and I'm teaching, I'm performing as an educator. When I'm in front of this screen, I'm performing as an educator. When I'm on a Zoom, I'm in a meeting. When I'm talking to a friend on a Zoom, I'm as a friend. And these are different video types of performances. I know we don't think of it that way, but really when we're talking to something that's inanimate as a screen or a lens, we have to kind of put on a performance because we know someone's going to watch it. And if we're not performing to the watcher, it really does not have this ability for us to use communication. I am communicating with you right now, albeit asynchronously. But the fact that you're watching this and listening to this means that I'm sending a way of us speaking to each other, a conversation, although not in live real time, but it is a conversation because you're ingesting or consuming this media. So when we teach people things using this, it is actually a way of helping other people see how we perform in different contexts. And I've always used that as like when we start becoming an influencer or we start promoting media content online, we actually get better at public speaking. So if you desire to be a public speaker or you desire to do things where you want to be a much more of a public figure, this type of practice is really, really helpful to the way that we can learn how to experience new ways of talking to the public. And so I do recommend, if you like this assignment, that you continue it. You try to keep your channel going. You continue to do the content you were making, because while you heard me last week speak all about all the negative aspects of it and how to misuse it, I think there's a lot of really great community out there that you can engage with that you wouldn't really have access to without having this type of medium. So for homework, you're going to be doing 2 things. One, you're going to listen to the Content Minds. That's my buddy Ryan Broderick and Luke Bailey. They do a weekly podcast called The Content Minds, where they literally talk about content on the internet. And they're obviously aware that content is a reductionist term for media online. Technically, this is content. Next week, we're going to talk content farms, as well as the Ukraine-Russia crisis going on right now and the war that's ongoing. And I want to talk to you about what it means to have content. Their podcast is The Online War, until the next one. And it is about posting media, what it means to be using this communication platform, this device, video media, to communicate war with an audience. This is way different than we've ever experienced ever. So I want you to listen to the podcast first. And then for the homework, you're going to have an assignment. This is the assignment part. For the assignment, there's actually 2 assignments. For the assignment of this, I actually just want a response as to what's your emotional feeling about receiving this type of media in real time as we're going through it. I'm very curious to that because that's going to be our conversation for next week. The other assignment, the video you made for this class, so the social media post, the video you just created, I want you to promote it. This is fake, okay? Let me just preface it. It's fake, okay? You're not actually promoting this video, okay? This is a simulation. This is a homework assignment. You're going to create fake posts for different platforms. what would this post look like on LinkedIn? What would this post look like on Facebook? What would the post look like on Twitter? What would it look like on Instagram? And so on and so forth. Because every platform has its own very specific language. And what it means is that every time we communicate on a different platform, we actually say things differently because the audiences of each platform are unique. And so I want you to basically create a piece for each, 4 or 5, let's just call it 4 or 5 different posts. You could create a Word doc and just put their text. You could create fake posts and screen grab them and then post them on a PowerPoint or a Google slide deck. Basically any way that you want to show me that you've created a post to promote the video you created on different platforms. That's what you have to do. So 4 or 5. So if you make 4, you're fine. If you make 5, that's great. So different platforms. So there's 4 or 5 different platforms. If you don't use other platforms, well, you win. I don't want to tell you. If you happen to never use anything but one platform, you're probably better off than the rest of us. But I want you to at least try. I want you to at least pretend you're promoting. Now this brings us to a conversation about how we talk or how we communicate on different social media. I'm having you do this not because you're going to get it right, but because you're going to practice with language in different spaces. And I think that's very important for us to understand when we talk about platform experiences. When we become better communicators, using video, using platform experiences, we become better users of the web. Really, this class is about digital media literacies. I said that on day 1, I'm repeating it now. When we make media, remember, literacies means reading and writing. So you do both. So when we learn how to make media, we learn how to read media better. So when you're creating the content and you're pretending to promote, even though in theory you'd be promoting, you're learning how other people do it. You're learning how the model is used, how other influencers are actually doing their job. If you are unaware as to how it's actually done, you're likely to be a consumer without criticality. What I like to know is that you've looked at this and started to understand that this type of critical approach to any type of content is very important to us being better consumers, being better purchasers, to not be taken for a ride, to not buy something that was kind of like put in front of us and we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. Because remember, so here's the last part. Influencers have to make money. And the way that money works online it's actually fairly complicated, but it's not as complicated as we think. In terms of platform capitalism, in other words, converting knowledge, affects, material into currency, this may work. You have to be able to monetize your content. And what monetizing your content means, it means using the monetize button. Now, what that also means is abiding by the channel's terms of service. There are rights. You are given rights when you create content. When you are a creator, you have the rights to create certain material. But that same platform has the rights to tell you not to do certain types of material. And so platforms themselves dictate the rules. Sometimes that feels somewhat draconian, or sometimes that feels not appropriate. But in many ways, the platform itself is actually looking out for your best interest, because you get to profit share with many of these platforms. YouTube, for instance, gives you 55%, and then they take 45%. So you get the majority of the stake. The reason they want you to succeed is because they're making money off the ads too. When you're making 55% and they're making 45%, you're just one of millions of people doing that. Millions of people are making money off of YouTube. They're not making much. I had a friend who actually was able to pay rent. He made a channel called Subway Sessions, which was about interviewing bands and shooting bands in subways. Pretty self-explanatory. And I think he was making about $750 a month from YouTube income. That's how much is ad sharing. So when you see an ad, you get a micro amount of money off that ad. And he was making, I think, enough to pay rent, or at least his portion of the rent, to make videos. And that's great. He was being compensated for it. But that's not where the real money comes from. When we talk about profit sharing in the partner programs, you have to understand that monetization means that you have to create at volume, or at least create in a way that you're going to keep making money. And YouTube has very specific rules of when you can start to make money. You need, I believe, 1,000 subscribers to begin with. So that's a threshold that's very difficult. I think in my time of teaching the classes, before 2013, you could just start. But then they put a threshold of 500 subscribers and no watch hours. Now they have it at 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours per month. So if this video is nearly an hour and it gets watched 4,000 times, it's 4,000 watch hours, right? But if it is watched by 4,000 people, it's the same as somebody watching it 4,000 times. So the simultaneous views counts as the watch hours that are on there. And what that means is subscribers. That's what they really want. So think about it this way. If you have 1,000 subscribers, in theory, a quarter are going to watch this content, and over the course of a month, you may have 4,000 hours. So it doesn't take that much to actually achieve 4,000 hours. It sounds like a lot, but it does require you to make a volume. In other words, one video is not going to get me to the threshold of being monetized. I'd have to make multiple videos for my 1,000 subscribers because eventually I'd reach 4,000 just by making volume. The amount of content incorporates to the part of monetization or income coming in. I find it a tough threshold to break. I find it really difficult for somebody who doesn't dedicate their entire job to making content. I think creators really do need a support structure. I used to think that creators could have this as a second job, and now I believe being a creator is a primary job. And so this is a dedication. It's something that you have to actually invest in or become much more of a literal creator at all times. And that to me is a bit tough for young people who work, who go to school, who are trying to get into this career. I think this is something that's a bit of a tough spot. So what they can do, aside from making money off the platform itself, is to find themselves endorsed, to find themselves as an influencer. And what that means is that they basically find someone who's trusting them to do a product placement. Means putting some things in your content so that it's visible. But it also means maybe doing a mention. So at the very end of a piece of content, you could do a small commercial for something, or you could add it in the middle as a break. This way, you don't have to add an actual commercial. You can deliver the commercial. One of my YouTubers that I like a lot, Told in Stone, often does sponsored content, and sponsored content means this video is brought to you by, and it means that somebody has decided to have him do it because his audience is dedicated enough to hear that. And because he said the type of ad, it's likely that I might make a purchasing decision because of it. Now, that's where coupons come in, or mentions, like use this code. So they can actually track to see if that works. So they can see if that happens. I have bought things off of YouTubers' codes. I have done that off of podcasters' codes. But those endorsement deals pay way better than anything that YouTube's gonna pay you. You usually get a contract, and the contract tells you how many times you have to do it, and then you just have to do it and hope that people are going to use your discount code. And over the course of time, you'll see that you're trusted as an influencer, as somebody who's going to make somebody make decisions. Now, this is why multi-platform engagement matters. This is why this homework assignment of you pretend posting on different things means something, because you have to talk and see which one works best. And like I said, we're not actually doing this. But if you were an actual creator, you would be making different types of posts for different type of platforms to get people to engage with your media in different ways. The way we speak on LinkedIn is not how we speak on TikTok. The way we speak on Instagram is not how we speak on Facebook. There are different audiences in each place. So when you speak on those posts, you don't phrase it the same way. There might be different vernacular. There might be different ways of approaching it. If you do not know yet how to speak on LinkedIn, we're going to get to that towards the end of the semester. That is a professional tool that you should definitely have. It is one of those social media that has somewhat, unfortunately, become very required inside of getting hired. But later in the semester, I'll explain it. But there's a way of speaking on LinkedIn. There's a way of basically humble bragging your way through a post, which you get good at after a while. But you want people to engage with your content. So you have to get somebody to feel like they're interested in it, but you're also getting something out of it. And then on Facebook, I often talk about Facebook as a way of that's where all my high school friends are that never really left town, and it's where all my parents and my parents' friends are. So it's like a boomer book to me. But it means I have to speak a very specific, general way on Facebook. I can't make something esoteric or specific. I have to speak to Facebook in a very broad way. It can't be niche. I can't be talking about memes on Facebook because the people who are on Facebook go, what the hell did you just talk about? So what I'd rather talk about is like graphical media, or I'm trying to even think about a way to speak to boomers about memes, rather than saying it's not pronounced meme. So it is a difficult way of learning how to speak on different platforms. And this is a part, like I said, part of this is seeing how you learn how to speak on different places in general. Now, like I said, if you don't use different platforms, you're going to be like, well, how am I going to do this assignment? I don't even know how to use these platforms. It's okay. Remember, this is pretend. You're just making it up. You're just going to try your best. Okay? So you'll figure that out. So that's it for this week. This is, I hope, filled in a bunch of the blanks from what we did with the influencer from last week. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to talk about creators through the entire semester. I don't think we're going to lose that thread. Creators, memers, and memes and culture and creation are part of this course. It is social media. I mean, this is media that's social. And so we're using this as a communication tool and as a creation device and a way of speaking across a mediated landscape. And that type of thing only becomes better if we learn how to read it more critically. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next week when we talk much more about what's the ongoing war and the crisis on our earth right now and the ways that we're interacting with it. It's a fairly serious conversation that I definitely want to have in person. Looking forward to seeing you next week, and thank you for understanding and watching this video and taking the class online this week. See you then.